You're working on your farm, minding your own business, when suddenly a man with a herd of cattle trespasses onto your land. You tell him to leave. He doesn't. Instead, he pulls out a knife and he stabs you over and over. And somehow, in the struggle, you manage to grab the knife and you turn the tables. You stab him back. He dies. You survive. But then, instead of being treated as a victim, you're arrested for murder. And years later, after sitting in prison for a crime you swear was self-defense, the Supreme Court sentences you to death. That's exactly what happened to Sunday Jackson, a farmer from Adamawa State, Nigeria. And today, we're talking about how a man who fought for his life became the one sentenced to death. Let's go back to 2014. Sunday Jackson, a 29-year-old farmer, was tending to his land in Kodonti Forest in Adamawa State when a herdsman named Buba Bawuro wandered in with his cattle. Now, farmers and herdsmen, they've been clashing. They clash over land and it's nothing new in Nigeria, but this wasn't just some minor dispute. Sunday reportedly told Buba to leave his land, but things escalated quickly. Instead of leaving, Buba pulled out a knife and attacked him. Sunday was stabbed multiple times. He was bleeding, he was in pain, he was fighting for his life. In the chaos, he somehow managed to wrestle the knife away from Buba. And in that desperate moment, he did what most people would do when attacked. He fought back. He stabbed Buba once in the neck, and Buba died on the spot. Now let's pause here. If this happened anywhere else, the story might have ended with Sunday being treated for his wounds and the authorities recognizing that he acted in self-defense. But this is Nigeria. And what happened next was anything but fair. Instead of being treated as the victim of an attack, Sunday was arrested for murder. He spent over 6 years in prison waiting for a trial. 6 years just sitting in a cell, not knowing his fate. And when the trial finally happened, it was a joke. The court hearings dragged on for years, but only 5 actual sittings took place. 5. After all that time in prison, it took just a few short hearings for the judge to decide Sunday's fate. And in 2021, he was sentenced to death by hanging. Yes. The man who was nearly stabbed to death on his own farm was now the one sentenced to die. Sunday appealed his sentence, and for a moment there was hope. Maybe the courts would see reason. Maybe they would recognize that this was a clear case of self-defense. If there was ever a definition for self-defense, it was this case. But on March 7, 2025, the Supreme Court of Nigeria upheld the death sentence. They basically said, nope, the verdict stands, hang him. And if you're wondering why they ruled this way, well, the reasoning was bizarre. The judge reportedly said that Sunday should have fled instead of fighting back, that he shouldn't have used excessive force. Let's think about that for a minute. A man was stabbed multiple times on his own land, barely alive, and they expected him to just run, bleeding and injured, against an armed attacker. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. This case has sparked outrage because it exposes a broken justice system. It's not just about Sunday. It's about what this case represents. Number 1, delayed justice. It took 6 years for this case to even move forward, and the Supreme Court dragged it out for even longer. Meanwhile, the real criminals in this country, many of them walk free. That's a conversation for another day. Secondly, misuse of the law. The Nigerian Constitution allows self-defense, yet in Sunday's case, it's like they just threw that out of the window. Nope, you should have run. Thirdly, bias against farmers. There have been countless clashes between farmers and herdsmen in Nigeria, and time after time, the farmers are the ones who suffer the consequences. I don't know what the dynamics there are. And the scariest part is that this story isn't rare. This is just the case that managed to get attention. But there are lots of cases like this right now. As of now, Sunday Jackson is still sitting on death row, waiting to see if the governor of Adamawa State will grant him clemency. Human rights groups from across the world are fighting to have the sentence overturned. Some international organizations are now involved, thankfully. I don't know if that will be enough. The sad reality is that in Nigeria, justice is not guaranteed. Sunday's fate is still hanging in the balance. So what do you think? Should Sunday Jackson be executed for killing his attacker? Or is this yet another example of how broken the system is? Let me know in the comments, and if you're as frustrated as I am, share this video please, because the more people who know about this, the harder it is for them to just sweep it under the rug and kill this poor man. Until next time, stay safe and hope you never have to fight for your life in a system that doesn't care.